Regarding roasting, purity roast to maintain the powerful antioxidant chlorogenic acid, or CGA, and limit negative compounds that can be created in the roast. Our roast curve has been designed with the direction from the University of Brazil to maintain a high chlorogenic acid concentration. We use smokeless roasters to avoid contaminating the coffee with hydrocarbons and maintain consistency with advanced data logging systems. We roast fresh daily and pack the coffee in nitrogen flash bags to prevent it from going stale until it is opened. Coffee often falls short of its potential as a health-boosting beverage, and Purity Coffee seeks to translate the scientific literature of coffee health and regenerative organic farming into products that represent the best of science.
Welcome to the Sovereign Sisters podcast. I'm your host, Angela Atkins of YourHealthUnbound.com, and I'm so excited to dive into today's topic, food addiction. As an integrative health and nutrition coach, this is my area of expertise, and it's something that affects millions of people, yet it often doesn't get the attention it deserves. But today, let's bring it into the spotlight, break it down, and most importantly, find real solutions together. Now, I started this conversation nearly a decade ago, and what's heartbreaking is that it's only gotten worse since then. But today, I want to offer you more than just information. I want to offer you hope and a path forward. So ask yourself a few questions. Do you think about food almost all the time? Have you ever felt like you just couldn't stop eating once you got started? Maybe you've hidden food or eaten in secret, or maybe you've turned to food to cope with stress or emotions. Well, if any of that resonates with you, please know that you're not alone. And more importantly, you are not powerless. Let me tell you about my journey with food addiction. It's very personal. I was a single mother of 3, constantly stressed, always exhausted, and dealing with illnesses of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. At my lowest point, I experienced a ruptured appendix, acute glaucoma, and fell into a depression. And then finally, I got a diagnosis of celiac disease. Well, conventional medicine had no real solutions for me, just had prescriptions to manage symptoms, but none of them addressed the root problem. So I turned to something different. I dedicated myself to learning about nutrition, how food affects our hormones, how food choices can either heal or harm us, and changing my relationship with food. I discovered that food addiction is real, but it's not a life sentence. And today I want to share some of those lessons with you. Now, food addiction is not just about lack of willpower. It's deeply tied to the hormones that control our hunger, metabolism, and cravings. And many people blame themselves for their lack of self-control around food. But the truth is, the deck is often stacked against us. Processed foods are engineered to hijack our brain chemistry, making it nearly impossible to resist cravings. The food industry spends billions of dollars formulating products that keep us coming back for more, whether it's that perfect crunch or the irresistible sweetness or the chemical additives that stimulate the pleasure centers in our brain. So many manufacturers pay scientists to develop studies that support their products as healthy and vilify actual healthy foods just to sell addictive products to the public. Now, there was a study done in 1967 that was authored by Doctors Hegsteff and Stair and published in the New England Journal of Medicine that emphasized that saturated fat was the primary dietary culprit, while playing down the link between sugar consumption and heart disease. This study was funded by the Sugar Research Foundation, now known as the Sugar Association. This strategic shift influenced public perception and dietary guidelines, steering attention away from sugar's role in cardiovascular health risks and placing the blame entirely on fat. This highlights how industry funded research shapes scientific discourse and public health policies. What we often don't realize is that these foods also wreak havoc with our hormones. When our hunger and fullness signals are out of sync, when stress and fatigue drive us to eat for comfort, or when our metabolism slows to a crawl, despite our best efforts, it's not just a lack of discipline, it's biology. Understanding how hormones influence food addiction can help us take back control and make informed decisions that support rather than sabotage our health. Now, here are 5 hormones that may be keeping you from losing weight and feeling your best. There's ghrelin, the hunger hormone. When ghrelin is high, you feel constantly hungry. So, for example, you finish dinner, but an hour later, you're finding yourself raiding the pantry for snacks, though you know you've had enough to eat. Well, this could be because your meal lacked nutrient-dense food that suppresses ghrelin. What's a simple way to manage this? So eat a veggie packed salad before every meal. Pretty simple. Now there's leptin, which is called the fat controller. Leptin is a hormone produced by fat cells, which help regulate how much fat your body stores. You eat a large meal, but you still don't feel satisfied. Well, this could be a sign of leptin resistance, where your brain just isn't receiving that signal that you're full. Leptin triggers the apostat, a region in the hypothalamus, to signal the brain that you're full, helping you regulate appetite. Overcoming this issue by starting your day with about 30 grams of lean protein, which can help leptin balance and support weight loss and regulation. If you suspect your thyroid isn't functioning well, it might be an issue with the thyroid hormones regulating your metabolism. You're constantly exhausted even after a full night's sleep, and no matter how much you diet and exercise, the scale won't budge. Well, it may be your thyroid is dysregulated. So try incorporating iodine-rich foods like seaweed into your diet, and you may want to consult a nutrition professional too. Another one is chronic stress, which can lead to constant cravings. This could be a sign of an issue with the hormone cortisol. Now, cortisol is produced by the adrenal glands, and it helps regulate your metabolism, inflammation, blood sugar levels, and the body's response to stress. So you've had a stressful day at work, and the first thing you want to do when you get home is dive into a tub of ice cream or a bag of chips. Well, that's cortisol at work. Your body is looking for a quick dopamine hit to relieve stress. Well, instead, you can just diffuse essential oils like a citrus blend that will help naturally curb your cravings. You can try meditation, which I know isn't for everyone, but you can just try calming the constant talk in your head by engaging in self-care to help bring down the cortisol levels and reduce stress-induced eating. Now, another one is melatonin. It's known as the sleep hormone, and it's produced by the pineal gland, which helps us regulate our body's circadian rhythm, signaling when it's time to sleep and time to wake. Poor sleep equals poor food choices. So you stay up late at night watching TV, and the next day, all you want is sugar, carbs, and caffeine. Well, that's because sleep deprivation causes melatonin imbalances, making your body crave quick energy sources. One way to shift this is to keep electronics out of your bedroom, sleep in a cool, darkened room, and get morning sunlight to regulate melatonin. But many so-called healthy foods actually fuel addiction in addition to just the hormonal issues. Whole wheat breads, cereals, even granola bars can spike blood sugar and lead to cravings. You know, one slice of whole wheat bread has 15 grams of simple carbohydrates. When that's metabolized, that's the equivalent of 3 teaspoons of sugar. And the FDA has recommended eating 6 to 11 servings of bread, cereal, and pasta daily. But at any given time, the body only needs about 1 teaspoon of sugar in the blood. But on average, adults consume about 22 teaspoons of sugar a day, and children consume a whopping 34 teaspoons a day. Well, it's recommended to keep your sugar intake to less than 10 teaspoons, with the optimal range being about 5 teaspoons per day. So if you have just one 12-ounce can of soda, that's about 10 teaspoons of sugar. That would be your whole limit of sugar for the day. So let's talk about sugar a little more. It has been scientifically proven to be more addictive than cocaine. Yet, it's nearly in everything we eat. Now, these sugary foods send reward signals to your brain, and they override your self-control mechanisms that can lead to addiction. So sugar literally hijacks the brain receptors that are meant to regulate your appetite. So now it's not hunger, but your cravings that are calling the shots. Well, it's time to make healthy swaps. Take a look at this graphic at how addictive foods can be. So if you see the foods on the left, they have a higher addictive value than the foods on the right. Well, this is almost a no-brainer since we stop to consider the foods on the left are processed simple carbohydrates. Now that chocolate is semi-sweet, not dark chocolate. And on the right are the whole foods and the foods that have been on healthy menus for centuries. The problem is that sugar hides in places that you wouldn't expect. So if you read a label on a jar of pasta sauce or yogurt or even salad dressing, you'll often find multiple forms of sugar disguised under names like high fructose corn syrup, cane juice, maltodextrin, dextrose, or sucrose. Many processed foods marketed as healthy contain just as much sugar as a candy bar, making it nearly impossible to escape the cycle of cravings. While many foods label as low fat often compensate by adding sugar, much more sugar, to make them taste better because fat is where the taste is. Well, one easy way to break free, avoid what I call crap foods. So here on this slide, you'll see C stands for carbonated beverages. Carbonated drinks are thought to be one of the main causes of today's obesity epidemic. This includes soft drinks and fruit juices that are both contain high levels of sugar or sugar substitutes. Then there's refined sugar. Now, refined sugar not only includes the white sugar we use, but also white flour, high fructose corn syrup, and any of the foods that quickly metabolize to sugar in the bloodstream. All too often, these are included in convenience and fast foods, mostly refined carbohydrates, breakfast cereals, crackers and pretzels, and that's just to name a few. And the A stands for artificial colorings and flavorings. Artificial colors and flavors are anti-nutrients, which means they have no nutrient value at all. They're in many packaged foods, sweets, and snacks. This includes artificial sweeteners, many that are known to have a toxic effect on the body, like aspartame, saccharin, and sucralose. And then P is for processed products. The processed products include microwave meals, which no one should be using a microwave to cook their food anymore. But that's for a discussion another time. But things like hot dogs, deli meats, sausages, all cured with nitrates, and numerous other refined foods that are staples in many households. Many include trans fats due to their processing. When you process these foods, they can convert the fats that they have into trans fats through a process called hydrogenation. This is when hydrogen is added to liquid vegetable oil to make them more solid and shelf stable. Then there's partially hydrogenated oils, which are commonly used in foods like margarine or baked goods or fried snacks because they improve texture and extend shelf life. But this alters the chemical structure of the fats and it creates trans fats, which we know now is linked to inflammation, heart disease, and metabolic disorders. And even though trans fats have been banned or restricted in many countries, They can still be found in some processed foods and fried foods. So when you start eliminating these from your body, it begins to reset and your cravings lessen. Over time, as your blood sugar stabilizes and your taste buds adjust, you'll notice that these intense urges for sugary processed foods start to fade. Your energy levels will become more consistent, and you'll experience fewer mood swings caused by sugar crashes. Also, your body will begin to crave whole, nourishing foods naturally, making healthy eating feel less like a struggle and more like second nature. This shift is powerful. It's the moment when you stop fighting against your body and start working to achieve lasting health. Now, I want to help set you up for success. Freedom from food addiction isn't just about what you remove, it's about what you add. It's easy to focus on what we need to cut out, like sugar, processed foods, refined carbs. But lasting change happens when we focus on nourishing our bodies with the right foods. When you fill your plate with real whole foods like fresh vegetables, quality proteins, and healthy fats, you naturally start to crowd out the unhealthy choices. You begin to experience stable energy levels, better mood regulation, and a deep sense of satisfaction from meals that truly fuel your body rather than depleting it. Beyond just food, it's about adding healthy habits, drinking more water, getting quality sleep, managing stress, and creating an environment that supports success. These additions are just as important as the things we eliminate, helping to build a sustainable lifestyle rather than just a temporary fix. Let me provide you with a few strategies that can help make these changes in real life. So, if you plan and prepare, you set yourself up for success with meal preparation and having healthy snacks on hand. I know you say you don't have time, but once you prioritize your health, you will find the time. Imagine you've had a long, exhausting day and you're starving when you get home. If you don't have a plan, the temptation to grab fast food or a processed snack is very high. But if you've prepped a batch of grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, and quinoa at the start of the week, you can easily throw together a nourishing meal in minutes. If you keep healthy snacks like nuts and seeds or chopped vegetables or boiled eggs in your lunch bag or your fridge, you will always have a smart choice available when hunger strikes. So it's important to eat foods that nourish you. You need to focus on high quality proteins, healthy fats, real whole foods that are preferably organic. If you eat breakfast, instead of starting your day with a sugar laden cereal or a bagel with cream cheese, swap it out for a breakfast that keeps you full and energized. Have a veggie omelet with avocado and a side of berries. That'll provide protein, fiber, and healthy fats, and that will stabilize your blood sugar and prevent those mid morning crashes. For lunch and dinner, you can aim for meals with lean animal proteins or fatty fish like wild caught salmon, with plenty of leafy greens and healthy fats like olive oil and nuts. The carbohydrates you eat should include vegetables in a rainbow of colors, seasonal fruits, and if you're not allergic to them, beans and legumes. So why don't you research to see which foods are on the Clean 15 list on the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org. These are foods produced with the least number of pesticides. That's especially if you cannot get organic. Organic, of course, is always the best. But just as a side note, researchers have found that those who ate 5 or more portions of vegetables and fruit a day were the happiest. So one thing you need to consider is to drink purified water. Tap water just doesn't cut it. You need a filtration system to eliminate the toxic chemicals that are dumped into our water supplies. Bottled water may many times come from municipal sources and are no different than drinking tap water. It's suggested to drink at least like half of your body weight in ounces per day because water is the main component of our cells, tissues, and organs, and that makes it vital for life. Water transports nutrients to the cells and removes toxins from the body. Speaking of which, so have you ever mistaken thirst for hunger? Well, many people do. You might feel you need a snack in the afternoon, but what your body really needs is hydration. Start your day with a glass of filtered water before anything else. You can sprinkle a little cayenne pepper and a slice of lemon in it for a cleansing start. Then carry a reusable water bottle, preferably something like glass or copper, with you so you can sip it throughout the day. If you find plain water boring, you can add slices of lemon, cucumber, or essential oils for flavor. Some delicious ways to get more water in is from foods that are high in water content, which include cucumbers, lettuce, watermelon, strawberries, grapefruit, and cantaloupe. Developing this habit will help reduce unnecessary cravings and improve digestion, energy, and overall well-being. You need to learn to satisfy your cravings the right way. Instead of cutting out fat, embrace healthy fats. They help keep you full and satisfied. Now, healthy fats include coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, grass-fed butter, whole eggs, and avocados. Cravings often hit hardest in the late afternoon or early evening. And instead of reaching for that bag of chips or candy bar, try incorporating healthy fats into your meals so the cravings are less likely to be a thing and they'll be reduced and they won't feel like they're overpowering you. But if you feel you need a snack and you want something salty or crunchy, you can grab a handful of nuts or some pre-cut veggies. That will do the trick for you. If you're in the mood for something creamy, like a small bowl of Greek yogurt with a drizzle of raw honey and some walnuts can satisfy your sweet tooth while nourishing your body. By allowing yourself to enjoy healthy fats, you'll stay fuller longer and reduce the urge to binge on empty calorie foods. But now it comes down to the power of personal responsibility. Here's the hard truth. Food addiction just isn't an individual problem. It's a systemic issue. The food industry thrives on keeping us hooked, manipulating our cravings with processed ingredients, hidden sugars, and artificial additives that disrupt our natural hunger and satiety signals. Advertisers bombard us with messages designed to override our bodily intuition, convincing us that we need hyper-processed, chemically engineered foods to be happy, energetic, or fulfilled. But that doesn't mean we're powerless. True sovereignty begins with our choices. Every dollar we spend, every meal we prepare, and every bite we take is an act of self-determination. So instead of buying your daily dessert in a cup disguised as a $7 coffee, you can swap it out for a healthier alternative and save money and increase your health at the same time. When we reclaim control over our food, we claim control over our health, our energy, and ultimately our freedom. Choosing to nourish our bodies with whole, real foods isn't just about physical well-being. It's about rejecting a system that profits from our addiction and poor health. And choosing organic over conventionally grown foods is well worth the investment in your health. As the saying goes, pay the farmer now or pay the doctor later. Bodily autonomy is a fundamental right, and it starts with what we put on our plates. The moment we stop supporting companies that create addictive, unhealthy products, we take back control. We send a powerful message that we will not be manipulated by an industry that prioritizes profits over our well-being. We get to decide what fuels our bodies, how we feel, and how we live. This is about so much more than just weight loss or dieting. This is reclaiming our health as an act of personal empowerment. It's about stepping into our full potential, refusing to be weighed down, literally and figuratively, by a system designed to keep us dependent. When we make intentional choices, when we educate ourselves, when we nourish our bodies with purpose, we not only free ourselves from food addiction, but we also inspire others to do the same. Food is more than just sustenance, it's sovereignty. And by taking control of what we consume, we are making a revolutionary choice to prioritize our well being, our energy, and our future. We are reclaiming what has always been ours, the right to thrive. Now, many people have looked to the initiatives like Make America Healthy Again, the movement that could impose procedural demands on food manufacturers and promote national health policies. While these top level efforts are important and can shape the conversation around food and health, they are only the tip of the iceberg. The real power lies in the hands of the individual. The individual consumer makes the difference. No amount of corporate policy changes or industry regulations will make as much of an impact as the collective purchasing decisions we make every single day. MAHA can work at the top level to influence policy, push for transparency in food labeling, and hold corporations accountable. However, manufacturers ultimately respond to demand. If consumers continue to buy addictive processed foods, companies will keep producing them. But if we shift our spending towards whole, nutritious, and locally sourced foods, manufacturers will be forced to adapt or risk losing business. This is where the true transformation happens, not from the top down, but from the ground up. Awareness is the key issue. Most people are unaware of how deeply engineered these foods are to override their natural hunger cues and keep them in a cycle of addiction. We must demand that MAHA and similar initiatives prioritize public education of these harmful effects of these products rather than just issuing recommendation. Transparency, education, and accountability should be at the forefront of their agenda. But while we push for systemic awareness, we must also take action in our daily lives. Every time we choose a local farmer's market over a big box grocery store, every time we pick up a fresh, whole food instead of a packaged alternative, we are shaping the future of food availability. We are making a statement that we value our health and will no longer be complicit in an industry that profits from our addiction. So while MAHA and similar initiatives can create structural pressure, the real power belongs to us. The more we choose to opt out of the processed food trap, the more we take control of our own health and we influence what ends up on our grocery store shelves. Let's not wait for the system to change. Let's change the system from within. Well, if there's one thing I wanted you to take away from this episode, it's that you have the power to change your relationship with food. You don't have to be the victim of cravings, emotional eating, or food addiction. Small, intentional changes made consistently can transform your health and your life. But beyond that, your choices have a ripple effect. The food industry pays attention to consumer demand. And when we stop buying their ultra-processed addictive products, we send a clear message. We demand better. Your wallet is one of the most powerful tools you have in this fight. Every time you choose fresh, whole foods over processed alternatives, every time you support local farmers or brands that prioritize real nutrition, you are casting a vote for the kind of food system you want to see. And that includes local farmers who are still raising conventionally grown crops that use pesticides. Make it known that you're looking for real food without chemicals, and then move on to an organic farmer. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Think about it. The companies that fill our grocery stores with junk Do it because it's profitable. But if more of us shift to spending our money towards real, nourishing foods, they will be forced to make a change or risk losing business. We've seen this happen before with consumer-driven movements in organic food, non-GMO products, and cleaner ingredient labels. We have more power than we realize. One of the most impactful ways to reclaim your food choices is by eating locally and seasonally. Buying food grown in your region supports local farmers. It strengthens your community and it ensures that your food is fresher, more nutrient dense, and free from unnecessary preservatives. Seasonal eating also aligns with what your body naturally needs. Lighter, hydrating foods in the summer and heartier, warming foods in the winter. Plus, local food doesn't have to travel thousands of miles, reducing environmental impact and keeping more money within your community. This not only fosters a healthier, more sustainable food system, but also strengthens food security by reducing reliance on long-distance supply chains that can be disrupted by economic or environmental factors. So start where you can. Swap one processed food item for a whole food alternative. Choose to support organic brands. Buy from local organic farmers when possible. Even small changes add up over time. And when we do this collectively, we shift the entire system. If you found today's episode valuable and want to support the work I do, there are a few simple ways to help. First, be sure to subscribe to my channels where I live stream, YouTube and Rumble, so you never miss an episode. If you prefer replays, you can find them on BitChute, Brighteon, and Telegram. And you want to be part of a like-minded community, you can join my Telegram channel at t.me/Sovereign Sisters, where we deep dive into topics, share insights, and support each other on this journey. Plus, the podcast replay on my Telegram channel don't have any added platform commercials. And if you'd like to help sustain this content, you can support the affiliate programs included in my web link, or if nothing else, buy me a coffee to keep the conversation going. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Angela Atkins. Every bit of support helps, and I truly appreciate you being here. And all these links are in the show description. So I thank you for being part of this movement. And until next time, take care of yourself. Nourish your body with intention. And remember, you are stronger than your cravings. And never forget, your choices don't just affect you. They have the power to reshape the food industry for the better. So everyone, God bless.